What made you fall in love with anime? Was it a nostalgic event that was forever immortalized in your childhood? A moment that, no matter how much time has passed, you still look at it fondly? Was it an epic fight scene that made you forget you were even watching a show? And to this day, it still gets your adrenaline pumping with anticipation. Was it something that made you change your perspective entirely? An incredible monologue from an unexpected character that made you question everything to that point. Maybe it was an emotional moment that you still can't help but break down watching. The end of something beautiful and touching. Could it have been a moment that was such a gut punch that you were left speechless? A betrayal or a character's turning point? Or perhaps it wasn't even a specific moment, but an entire series that you couldn't stop watching for even a day. Maybe even something that brought you closer to someone you care about. Or could it be that you don't yet have that connection with the genre, but you still hold many shows dear to your heart? For me, anime wasn't always a medium I indulged in. I grew up like many from my generation, glued to the screen watching Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z. These two shows were undoubtedly pivotal in my formative years and are two of my most beloved franchises even now. But they weren't the shows that made me fall in love with anime. Because after Dragon Ball Z ended and my interest in Pokemon shifted primarily to the games over the anime, I consumed virtually no anime for about 15 years in what some might call the Dark Ages. This period wasn't some protest against the medium. I just simply didn't know where to start or even how to start. Instead, I spent my time playing video games and watching an unhealthy amount of YouTube. I didn't make my return to anime until I was already in my mid-20s. Something of a hopeless romantic, I decided I'd try a romance anime. I started my new journey with Toradora. And to this day, Toradora is easily still one of my favorite romance anime to date, if not one of my favorite anime in general. But while I wouldn't say it made me fall in love with the genre, I would say it impressed upon me an important fact. That anime is more than just a hype shonen fight scene. But I learned anime can have a real and emotional impact on you. From here, I decided I'd go through a list of classics, including some shows like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, Death Note, Angel Beats, Re:Zero, Soul Eater, and several others that I'll probably talk about more in future videos. And while I would certainly say that I genuinely loved and still love these shows, they didn't make me connect the dots. I wasn't in love with anime as a genre, I just loved specific shows. I didn't mind that though. I was enjoying my time and was getting an almost unlimited amount of new entertainment with little restriction and a lot of freedom. Strangely, I didn't connect those dots until I decided to stray away from the classics. You see, for most of these shows, I went in with at least some idea of what I was getting myself into, whether that be from previous cultural knowledge or from friend recommendations. And although this allowed me to get several anime under my belt, it didn't let me fully explore the vast sea of content that was out there. It wasn't until I decided to completely take a shot in the dark that I truly found what made it all make sense. Sing Yesterday for me was a show that came out in April of 2020. And my intention isn't to walk you through the entire story of Sing Yesterday for me, but I do want to set the stage and introduce our four most important characters before we delve deeper into my connections with them. Sing Yesterday for me focuses on the story of Rikuo Uozumi, a college graduate with a potentially endless future of possibilities and growth ahead of him. He was going places and fast. Except, he's not. He's actively not using his degree and is instead working at a convenience store. He doesn't really have much ambition to find a quote-unquote real job, and enjoys the comforts of a monotonous, low-risk job. One day, Rikuo is feeding the crows on break from his job, as he does, and among these crows is the pet of a young girl named Haru Nonaka. Haru and Rikuo have a brief exchange about themselves before Rikuo gives her a box from the store, and they go their separate ways, with Rikuo calling her a weird girl as she walked away. Later, Rikuo is visited by a friend from college, and he's told that his former romantic interest, Shineko Morinome, has recently taken up a teaching job nearby, to which Rikuo is surprised. After a now usual visit from Haru at the convenience store, a new visitor arrives shortly after, Shineko. The two meet after work for food, and we get an important moment from Rikuo here as he's walking her home. He refers to himself as a failure to Shineko. She reassures him, but we can see here how Rikuo views himself. Many times through the series, we see Rikuo question himself on whether one event or another could have led him down a different path. Something I'm sure many people besides him and myself have felt in the past. He is then confronted at work one day by his coworker about whether he likes Shineko, to which Rikuo replies in the affirmative, but again he shoots himself down by saying he's essentially a failure who doesn't deserve Shineko because of his lack of ambition. His coworker claims he's just using that as an excuse so that he doesn't get hurt for trying. And after some reflection, we finally see Rikuo take action as he confesses his longtime feelings for Shineko outside her home. But he's rejected. He rides off, and as this now long since bottled up emotion is finally let out, this happens. Rejection isn't ever easy no matter what form it comes in, but there's a feeling of liberation that can come from an outburst like this. A small amount lifted off your shoulders even. But you can also feel like you've wasted too much time to get an answer that you could have gotten days, weeks, or sometimes even years ago. And when you compound this feeling of wasted time into the feeling of a fresh rejection or even a more vague failure, it can have a longer lasting impact than you might hope. After some time passes, Shineko has finished her first school year as a teacher and is invited to drinks by her colleagues. Before she goes, Shineko sees a very familiar face in one of the classrooms named Ro Hayakawa. Shineko at one time loved and took care of Ro's older brother, who was sick and eventually passed away due to his sickness. But her spending all this time with his brother and Ro caused him to start to fall for Shineko as well. And this is a thread that gets pulled on much more as the story progresses. And shortly after this, Rikuo happens to run into Shineko at a park on his way home. Shineko's desire for them to remain friends is reinforced in their conversation, but Rikuo seemed to expect this result. As he offers to walk Shineko home, Haru walks by as well after finishing her own work at a local bar. Through what she has seen so far, Haru is all but certain there's more between Rikuo and Shineko than either let on, as her frustration causes her to go home alone after a short talk with the two. While working one day, Rikuo is confronted by Ro, who asks what Rikuo is to Shineko. And all while this is happening, Haru has also confronted Shineko about her feelings for Rikuo. And this is where we learn about Ro's backstory and how Shineko has become how she is today. Ro tells Rikuo that Shineko and him would never work out because of Shineko's past. On the other end, Haru declares a mostly friendly war on Shineko, to which Shineko says is unnecessary because her and Rikuo could never be more than friends. Haru believes this to be unfair and says that she would rather lose the Shineko so that she could move on than to be nothing more than a compromise for Rikuo. All four major characters have in some way shown their hand to at least one of the other characters in this web of relationships. But all four have major obstacles and hardships to overcome before they can move on with one another. With this, we've now been introduced to the main four characters that will be interacting and changing throughout the story moving forward. At this stage, we're a good distance into episode 2, and I'm going to leave out plot details from here on, as I want to not only give you the chance to watch the show if you so desire, but also so that I can change gears and get more into why this was the show that made me fall in love with anime. You see, despite me telling you that I partly see myself as the romantic type, I've never been interested in the romance genre when it comes to live action or in written form. There's some kind of disconnect in animation that allows me to, ironically, get far more immersed than traditional media ever could. Something about anime is really special in the way that it can seamlessly connect to me. Up to this point in our journey with Sing Yesterday for me, my personal story can already strongly resonate with all four of our major characters in Rikuo, Haru, Shinako, and Ro. Like Rikuo, I graduated college and proceeded to do little to nothing with my degree. Strange as it is, making this video is the closest I've come to using that degree in the 7 years since I received it. After college, I then worked at a supermarket for around 5 years and expressed many of the same self-deprecating thoughts and feelings that Rikuo felt. At times, I felt like a failure and that I wasn't good enough for people, and being complacent was the best solution to avoid being hurt. This wasn't the only comparison I could draw with Rikuo, however, as I also knew what it was like to feel that catharsis from holding on to a feeling for so long and then crashing down at the end of it all. In the case of Haru, I knew the feeling of being the third wheel, of being the one that got left behind, of feeling like you'd be a compromise if you were chosen instead of somebody else. Where Rikuo is satisfied to stay in neutral, Haru wants to go forward. She wants to make a change and reach for something that may well end in pain, but at least she gave it her all, a pain many of us have experienced at least once. And while I find myself being least similar to Shinako in terms of personal experience and clarity of character, there is one major component to her that I know all too well: the loss of somebody you care about. The loss of someone she once loved has made it difficult for her to move on, and she has trouble with letting people in any way beyond platonic friendship. My situation isn't quite at that same level as Shinako's, but I have lost someone that I will still to this day refer to as one of the best friends I've ever had. Nothing can really prepare you for the void that someone's absence leaves behind, and Shinako's journey illustrates the mental conflict that one might go through after something like this well. As for Ro, having to love someone from afar can be very difficult. Can you, or even should you, try to change a long-standing relationship that was never more than a friendship? Would you just feel like a replacement for someone's lost love? Never to live up to what they were and to always live in their shadow. I won't spoil any of the resolutions these characters go through, but I will tell you that all of these issues the characters have are at least in some way addressed before the end of the show's run. Rikuo is forced to grapple with his self-deprecation and feeling of not being enough. Haru has to face the potential reality that you can't always get what you want, even if you put your whole heart into attaining it. Shinako is made to look within herself to find out how to move on after losing someone dear to her. And Ro is forced to come to terms with loving someone from afar and what you should and shouldn't do to get clarity and to hopefully move on. A collection of characters has never felt more real for me because I can see myself in each and every one of these people. None of the emotions these characters are feeling are rare or unique, but that makes them all the more relatable. From my experience, one of the greatest qualities a story can have is to make the characters feel like they could just as easily have been real people. When a story forces you to reflect on yourself, it goes beyond a feeling of immersion. So if I turn my initial question against myself to ask, what made me fall in love with anime? Well, it was a show that didn't break the mold of modern illustration, but a show that told an honest story of flawed people. A story that allowed me to understand myself better by seeing myself through the lens of others reflected back at me. An exploration of the trials of youth and passions of chasing something important to you. And that story for me was Sing Yesterday for me. Now I've told you about my love story with anime. What's yours? Please feel free to tell me in the comments below, and like the video if you, liked the video. If not, well, thanks for hearing me out. This is my first video on the channel, and I plan to make many more anime-related videos in the future. I'd also love to hear your feedback on things you'd like for me to cover in the future as well. And with that said, I look forward to seeing you there, fellow anime lovers. Bye-bye for now.